Good afternoon. I know with most of us being active duty military or prior military, we've all had to go TDY or deploy, and that's made us fly on commercial aircraft in the United States. And since 2001, we've had to deal with TSA, or the Transportation Security Agency, in going through to get to our flights. Now, I'm going to try to persuade you today on how TSA has failed as a government agency. I believe that TSA is a very unprofessional agency or a security force, and unprofessional, and they should probably be replaced. I'm going to discuss with you how the TSA is a very reactive force, how they've allowed over 26,000 security breaches since their inception in 2001. I'm also going to discuss with you how the new body scanners that they're using, or new technologies they're using it improperly and also unprofessionally at that, more importantly. And also I'll discuss with you how the House of Representatives Oversight Committee has noticed TSA as a failure in the government and is looking to replace them. With all that being said, I'd like to jump right in and talk to you how they are a reactive force. Since 2001, I know they've allowed 2,600 weapons allowed to fly on aircraft. And I understand that, accidents do happen, just like this young lady who flew from Orlando to New Jersey recently, a female firefighter who had a 308 in her handbag, and that was allowed to fly, and she turned herself in. So if that's 2,600 weapons allowed to fly, then how many weapons who haven't been reported has been allowed to fly? Okay, and with that being reactive, so now that they see that as a problem, they're going to try to make new rules or new operations, try to prevent that for next time. And when they do in these new reactive operations like that, it doesn't just pertain to those individuals that got through the cracks, but now to everybody. So now TSA is going to be more forceful or more unprofessional in their screening, and that's even dealing with the elderly or our children or even people with special needs. I also was able to find another article where TSA was forcing an elderly woman in a wheelchair and took her in the back and had to do a strip search on her, and she was wearing Depends, and it was a big mess, and it was just unprofessional, if you ask me, on TSA's part. So TSA needs to probably train their personnel a little bit better, I think, and also maybe do a better screening in human resources on who they're allowing to work in TSA. Now, with the new scanners, I want to talk about those for a minute. Now, these new technology that they're using and the new scanners that they're bringing in, I do have some personal opinions about this, and also I have used these scanners in Iraq previously at some of the bases I've been at, where local nationals were coming on to do work on base, and we would have these scanners and we would use them on these local nationals to come on instead of trying to hand search every single Iraqi coming on the installation. Do they work? Yes, they do work. But here in America, I believe it's kind of a Gestapo tactic, because one of my children or my wife going through the airport and needed to get screened like this, I'd be very upset and probably would have to drive, because I don't think I would allow my kids to be screened in one of these scanners, because I know what they're capable of. I know when I went to TDY with some buddies, and they had this guy, one of my buddies, get screened 3 times, and they kept messing with him, and it was TSA was playing a joke on one another and kept having them screen my buddy. So it's very unprofessional at that aspect. I've also know that CBS, I saw in an article, CBS was doing a research on TSA, and they found over 500 complaints done by women across the nation on how they've been screened and put in these scanners, and they feel that it's unprofessional. They felt that when they looked back through the line of people that were getting pulled out of security to go get scanned, it was all women, most of them being attractive women, they've said. Other complaints said how the TSA agents themselves were being unprofessional with the scanners and were taking scans of 3 or 4 times of the same woman. And so again, the unprofessionalism and also probably lack of training dealing with these new scanners is kind of important. Another thing I want to talk about is how Congress, like I was saying earlier, the House of Representatives Oversight Committee has saw how the taxpayers' funds are being misused in TSA itself. I know that they've had over $8 billion to buy new baggage screening and personnel screening devices, and they're not even being utilized. They're stuck in warehouses across the nation. So, and then when the government tries to go in and research this and tries to ask for TSA for information, TSA has been known to hide their information and not really working well with the government because they know they're wrong. So, overall, again, I want to persuade you that TSA as an agency alone in their endeavor has been an unprofessional force and probably could probably do a lot better. Okay. So today I've talked to you about how TSA is a reactive force and probably unprofessionally and untrained force in securing our airports. I've also talked about how they misuse their new body scanners and again, the unprofessional acts that TSA agents are using across the nation, and how the government themselves and the House of Representatives have noticed TSA as a failure across the board and looking to replace them. So I hope I'm able to persuade you against TSA itself as an agency and probably don't really work well with them.